Here's a fact that'll frustrate you. 92% of people who set goals never achieve them. And before you start thinking you're different, before you tell yourself that this time will be the time you finally stick to your resolution, let me ask you something. How many times have you set the same goal? Lost weight, then gained it back. Started that side business, then abandoned it 3 months later. Promised yourself you'd wake up at 5 a.m., then hit snooze for 6 weeks straight until you gave up entirely. I'm not here to motivate you. I'm here to tell you the truth. The problem isn't your willpower. The problem isn't your commitment. The problem is that you've been sold a lie about how change actually works. Today, I'm going to show you why goal setting is fundamentally broken and give you a completely different approach that actually works. One that doesn't rely on motivation, doesn't depend on perfect conditions, and doesn't leave you feeling like a failure when life gets messy. Let's start with why goals suck. First, goals are outcome-focused. You set a target, lose 20 pounds, make 6 figures, write a book, and then you work backwards trying to figure out how to get there. But here's the thing. You don't control outcomes. You only control your actions. Think about it. You can't control whether you lose exactly 20 pounds. Your body might lose 15 and then plateau. You can't control whether your business makes 6 figures. The market, competition, and 1,000 other variables play a role. You can't even control whether you finish that book. Life happens. Emergencies come up. Priorities shift. When you focus on outcomes you can't control, you set yourself up for frustration and eventual failure. Second, goals create an all-or-nothing mentality. You're either crushing your goal or you're failing. There's no middle ground. Miss your workout 3 days in a row. You're a failure. Business only makes 80,000 instead of 100K. Failure. Book is only half finished by your deadline. Failure. This binary thinking is toxic because it ignores the reality that progress isn't linear. Real change happens in messy, imperfect waves, not clean straight lines. Third, and this is the big one, goals make you miserable. Think about the last big goal you achieved. How long did that satisfaction last? A day? A week? Then what happened? You immediately set another goal, right? Because goals are based on the assumption that you'll be happy when you achieve them. But that's not how happiness works. You spend months or years in a state of perpetual dissatisfaction, telling yourself you'll be happy when you reach the finish line. Then you cross it. Feel good for about 5 minutes, and immediately start looking for the next mountain to climb. Goals turn your life into a series of sprints toward arbitrary finish lines, instead of teaching you to enjoy the process of becoming the person you want to be. But here's what really frustrates me about the goal-setting industrial complex. It puts all the blame on you when things don't work out. You just didn't want it bad enough. You lacked discipline. You need to get more motivated. That's nonsense. The system is broken, not you. So, what's the alternative? Systems. Instead of focusing on what you want to achieve, focus on what you want to become. Instead of outcome-based goals, create process-based systems. A system is a series of daily practices and habits that naturally lead to the outcomes you want. But here's the key difference. With systems, you win every single day. You execute the system, regardless of the long-term outcome. Let me give you an example. Instead of setting a goal to lose 20 pounds, you create a system around becoming a healthy person. What do healthy people do? They move their bodies daily. They eat mostly whole foods. They get adequate sleep. They manage stress. So, your system becomes: walk for 30 minutes every morning. Eat a vegetable with every meal. Sleep 7 to 8 hours, and do 10 minutes of meditation daily. Notice what happened there. Instead of focusing on the number on the scale, which you can't directly control, you're focusing on daily actions that naturally lead to weight loss. And every day you execute those actions, you win. Even if the scale doesn't move for 2 weeks, you're still winning because you're becoming the type of person who takes care of their health. This isn't just theory. I've been using this approach for 5 years, and it's completely transformed how I approach every area of my life. Business, health, relationships, learning, everything. And the science backs this up. Studies show that people who focus on process goals rather than outcome goals are more likely to stick with their habits long-term, experience less stress and anxiety, and actually achieve better results. Why? Because systems are sustainable. They work with human psychology instead of against it. Let me explain why systems work where goals fail by breaking down what's actually happening in your brain. When you set an outcome-based goal, you're essentially making a bet that future you will have more motivation, discipline, and willpower than. But motivation is not a reliable resource. It's like the weather. Sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it storms, and you can't control when either happens. Systems, on the other hand, are designed to work even when motivation is low. They're built around making the right choice as easy and automatic as possible. Here's another psychological principle. Your brain is wired to seek immediate rewards. Goals, by definition, require you to delay gratification for weeks or months. That's fighting against millions of years of evolutionary programming. Systems give you immediate rewards every time you execute them. Completed your morning walk, immediate win. Meditated for 10 minutes, another win. Ate that vegetable with lunch, win number 3. By noon, you've already won 3 times. And your brain is flooded with the satisfaction that comes from keeping promises to yourself. This creates a positive feedback loop. Success breeds success. Each small win increases your confidence and makes it easier to execute the system tomorrow. Goals also create what psychologists call arrival fallacy, the belief that reaching a destination will fundamentally change how you feel. But systems teach you that you already are the person you want to become. You're not waiting to be happy when you lose weight. You're already a healthy person who happens to be in the process of losing weight. This identity shift is crucial. When you see yourself as someone who exercises, it becomes natural to exercise. When you see yourself as someone who reads, you naturally read. When you see yourself as someone who builds businesses, you naturally take actions that build businesses. Goals ask you to act like someone else until you achieve a thing. Systems ask you to become someone else through what you do daily. All right, enough theory. Let me give you a simple 3-step framework for building systems that actually work. Step 1. Identity first. Start by asking, what type of person do I want to become? Not what you want to achieve, who you want to be. Want to lose weight? You want to become a healthy person. Want to build a business? You want to become an entrepreneur. Want to learn a skill? You want to become a lifelong learner. Write this down. I am someone who. This becomes your North Star. Every decision you make should be filtered through this identity. When faced with a choice, ask yourself, what would a healthy person do? What would an entrepreneur do? What would a lifelong learner do? Step 2. Minimum effective dose. Here's where most people screw up systems. They try to do too much too fast. They want to meditate for an hour, work out for 90 minutes, read for 2 hours, and journal for 30 minutes. Every single day. That's not a system. That's a recipe for burnout. Instead, find the minimum effective dose. What's the smallest possible action that still moves you toward your identity? Want to become someone who exercises? Start with 10 push-ups a day. Want to become someone who reads? Start with 1 page a day. Want to become someone who writes? Start with 1 paragraph a day. I know what you're thinking, but that's not enough to make a difference. Wrong. The goal isn't to make a huge difference on day 1. The goal is to prove to yourself that you're the type of person who does this thing consistently. Once that identity is established, expanding becomes natural. James Clear calls this the 2-minute rule. Make your habits so small, they take less than 2 minutes to complete. This removes the resistance and makes it almost impossible to fail. Step 3. Stack and track. Now, you need to make your system automatic and visible. For automation, use habit stacking. Take an existing habit and attach your new system to it. After I pour my morning coffee, I will do 10 push-ups. After I brush my teeth at night, I will write 1 paragraph. After I sit down at my desk, I will read one page. The existing habit becomes the trigger for the new behavior. This leverages your current routines instead of fighting against them. For visibility, track your systems, not the outcomes, the actions. Create a simple checklist or use an app to mark off each time you execute part of your system. This serves two purposes. It makes your progress visible, which provides motivation, and it creates accountability. You can't lie to yourself about whether you're executing your system when it's right there in black and white. But here's the key. Track the process, not the results. Don't track pounds lost. Track workouts completed. Don't track money made. Track products shipped or customers contacted. Don't track books published. Track writing sessions completed. When you track the process, you're in complete control of your success. When you track outcomes, you're at the mercy of factors outside your control. Before I give you your challenge, let me warn you about the 3 biggest mistakes people make when switching to systems. Mistake number 1, making it too complex. Systems should be simple. If you need a spreadsheet to track your system, it's too complicated. If you need to set 5 alarms and prepare the night before, it's too complex. Start stupidly simple and add complexity only after the basic system becomes automatic. Mistake number 2, focusing on perfect execution. You're not trying to execute your system perfectly forever. You're trying to execute it consistently enough that it becomes part of who you are. Missing one day isn't failure. It's data. What caused the miss? How can you adjust the system to prevent it next time? Mistake number 3, changing systems too quickly. Give your systems time to work. Most people quit after 2 weeks because they don't see dramatic results. But systems work through compound effect. Small actions that seem insignificant in the moment, but add up to remarkable results over time. Stick with a system for at least 90 days before making major changes. Your job isn't to optimize, it's to execute. Alright, here's your challenge, and I want you to start this today. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Pick one area of your life where you've been setting goals that haven't worked. Health, business, relationships, learning, whatever. Now apply the 3-step framework. Step 1. Define your identity. Write down "I am someone who," and complete that sentence. Make it specific and personal. Step 2. Find your minimum effective dose. What's the smallest daily action that someone with this identity would take? Write it down. Step 3. Stack and track. What existing habit will you attach this to? And how will you track your execution? Write all of this down right now. I'm serious. Pause the video if you need to. Then execute your system today, not tomorrow. Today, if you want to become someone who exercises, do those 10 push-ups before you go to bed tonight. If you want to become someone who writes, write 1 paragraph before you close your laptop. If you want to become someone who reads, read 1 page before you check social media again. Here's the thing. Your system only works if you work your system. And the best time to start is always now. Look, you can keep setting goals and hoping this time will be different. You can keep relying on motivation and willpower and New Year's energy that fades by February. Or you can realize that successful people don't have more discipline than you. They have better systems. They focus on process instead of outcomes. They celebrate daily wins instead of waiting for distant finish lines. They become the person they want to be through what they do consistently, not through what they achieve occasionally. The choice is yours. But if you're tired of breaking promises to yourself, if you're ready to actually change instead of just talking about change, then stop setting goals. Start building systems. Your future self will thank you. What system are you going to build? Drop it in the comments below, and I'll personally respond to help you refine it. And if this approach resonated with you, check out my next video, where I break down the exact systems I use to stay consistent even when life gets chaotic.